All right, guys, today I'm going to be teaching you guys the theory for making leads like this. Almost like a well is dying. Okay, now this is going to be a sound from one of Chris Lake's tracks, probably his most sound design heavy track known as Psycho. Super cool lead, drum and bass inspired, I believe, or bass housey. I learned how to make leads like this a while back when I was doing a drum and bass pack, Odyssey All Stars 1 and 2. So the techniques that we need to make this lead is something known as wave shaping, okay? And the act of wave shaping is running a sound with basic wave shapes like saw, sine, squares, and so forth into heavy amounts of distortion. Usually I find the tube works best, and you can also experiment with diode, ASIM, and so forth. Because if I remove this, this is what we are feeding the distortion in order to create that sound. Okay, so let's get started here. So as stated before, we're just going to be using basic shapes and feeding that into the distortion. I'm going to be choosing a saw. From there on oscillator B, we want to go again basic shapes and pick a sine wave that we're going to be using to PD from B, the saw, which is going to in essence apply harmonics to the saw. We're going to increase the ratio to +1, so we have a 2-to-1 ratio. And then we're going to bring this up here to get this sound in particular. From there, I'm going to activate the filter and I'm going to activate the distortion. We're going to go with the tube and we're going to go to 98% because it feels like if I go to 100%, it feels like I go to 11 or 110%. Like it doesn't sound as clean as if I hold my composure and set it to 98%. Okay, from there, I'm going to activate this resonance, which is going to manipulate the sound. We're going to increase the cutoff point boost. When in essence, the resonance is just increasing the volume at that specific frequency where the cutoff is occurring. I'm going to drag this down to around 200, and I'm going to activate the key track. So that way, the higher pitch I play, the higher the filter will open up. A bit of drive. Okay, now from there, this is what really is going to sell the sound. And it's what I would call like a hidden technique, as simple as it looks. Back then, like I said, I was making a drum and bass pack and I couldn't figure out how to make these certain type of saw sounds. Like when I hear the Psycho lead from Chris Lake, it sounds like a saw, like that has been literally just decimated. Okay, and the only way that I could get it is by activating an oscillator that will be playing almost below what a bass should be playing at. So if I put this at 3, we get that. But if I put it at -4, it's going to create so much instability. Okay. As you can hear there. From there, I need to make the sound move like it's, or sound like it's moving, right? So I'm going to activate a bit of fine here to create instability in the sound, which is going to make it so that the sound feels like it's vibrating. And let's go with a sine for this one here. It sounds a lot better. And I'm going to leave this PD around. So at the bottom left of 0 and 2, but almost any synth is going to have this, you're going to have the bend range. So I'm going to set that to 4. Now, why did I set it to 4? Well, that's the amount I feel like Chris Lake is going up by. But also, you know, if you ever have like, you want to pitch up to a certain key, like a 7th or like a 12th, so you land on B, let's say, you can always set it here, what semitone you want to reach when this knob is put all the way up. The other cool thing is when we activated this key track, as the cutoff moves up, right, due to like, again, if we play higher up in the notes, but also if you pitch bend it up, it will also move with the pitch bend. And that's what really nails that sound. From there, I can add 2 voices here, retrig. Now, if I go here into this settings mode, I can lower down the width of this because usually with a synth, the moment that you add any more than one voice, some of them will pan left and right for you and detune. And you can see that here in the image that is provided. And again, this is creating even more instability because the thing with waves is as the pitch changes, right? We're changing the fine a bit. That's changing the rate at which the wave moves. Higher pitch stuff will move faster. Lower pitch stuff moves a lot slower. Similar to when you have a VHS tape, you put it on the TV and you fast forward it. Back in the day, you would hear the voices start to go like, instead of, hey, how are you, John? It would be like, as you fast forward due to, again, the rate at which it's moving. And from there, if you want to add a flanger, which I think he does have, it sounds like he has that flange effect going on. You know, the flange, I call it the Paris Hilton effect because of that viral video of her just playing an Avicii song and riding the flange. Back in the day, I'm pretty sure she's a better DJ now. Or she was back then. It's just like that video came out where she was like, just like, you know, moving that flange. So I think Chris Lake got inspired by that as well. And also a hyper effect, which duplicates the sound depending on the unison here and detunes it if you want to add even more. And hyper dimension. So we get the sound like sorts, right? Very simple. And as a sound designer, this is where I would go save it. As a bonus, let me teach you guys how to make the knock bass as well from the track. So the only thing you're going to need is going to be either a sine or a triangle wave. We start with the sine, which sounds very bass. We put it at the optimal bass range, where we start to hear the low end, the deep sub. We're going to grab an envelope. Make sure it's unipolar, going in one direction. You can also switch it here. And then from there, lower down your sustain, decay. And then we're going to use heavy amounts of distortion on this sound as well. Pick the wrong one. Distortion, huge amount. And we get this nice bass. We can always add a post if you don't like the overtones provided. This is a filter that is put on after distortion, because sometimes distortion can bring in unwanted higher frequency. From here, I can control the tone here by either going higher. I like it there, and then let's move this up a bit. Sometimes when I'm making toms, I also like to add a sample into the equation, so that way we give more character to this particular sound. So we'll go sample, drum, let's add like a tom, or we can even add a kick, any kick. Move this here. And then we can also EQ the bass sound. Play with this guy more, maybe a different. And then we can add a bit of decay dynamics here by lowering down the sustain and then using our. This sells the effect more because distortion, the effect itself is also based on the amplitude, the volume of the sound. So if the sound's constantly loud, you're going to get a blah, blah, blah. But if the sound decreases, the amount that distortion is getting in terms of volume changes, and that changes the way the distortion alters the sound, shapes the sound. Okay, now let's retrig this by lowering down the ramp phase so that phase starts where I say it starts by moving this guy here. And very cool, simple sound to make. From there, I can add a multi-band. I'm going to be putting these sounds up on my Patreon as always. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and follow for more music production content. With that being said, I'll catch you guys next time. You guys take care. And you now know how to make these death-defying leads for your own music.